Lancelotti, and I am the chair for Dementia Friendly Lunenburg for the Action Team. I'm also the facilitator of the Memory Cafe, which happens actually this Friday. I look at my calendar.
Next Friday.
Next Friday.
Friday after.
Thank you. And it happens the last Friday of every month at the Senior Center from 10 to 12. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But just thanks for wanting to know more about this. For those of you who came tonight, it's about awareness, and I'm going to talk a lot about that. And it's taking your time after a long day of work, this beautiful summer day, and I appreciate you coming out. I want to give special thanks to the speakers. Rep. Stephen Hay, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Pam McLeod from the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, Christy representing Senator Dean Tran tonight for us, and our town manager in Lunenburg, Heather Review. And a special thanks is to the woman that hasn't come in yet, Patty Sullivan. So Patty is, she's our guiding light for Dementia Friendly Massachusetts. And she is the program manager for that. And she'll be speaking after I give a little bit short about what we're doing and how we're doing it and things like that. So if you have questions and I'm talking, stop and ask me a question. I'm cool with that. And I want this to be interactive because there are so many questions that people may have about what we're doing and how we're proceeding and things like that. We wouldn't be here without the Action Team and those supporting everything that we do on the Action Team. And for those of you from the Action Team that are here, please raise your hand and a big thank you from me, actually. They have known that I sometimes don't finish my sentences and things like that, and they do that for me. And, someone said, "Are we going to do? When's our next meeting?" "Oh yeah, right. Let's do that." But you all pick up the ball, and I appreciate it so much. And biggest thanks I think is to Sue already for coming to me a little over a year ago and saying, "Hey, town's talking about this, and what do you think about Dementia Friendly Mass?" And I said, "Well, I know a few things about it, and let's sit down and talk." And we did. And she had the faith in me that I could help out and guide a team and do this because you didn't want to take the talk. And we do, and it was a smart move. But it's fun, and we have a good time with our team. We have a lot of progress with it. Housekeeping, bathrooms are right out there. If you need to go, please do that. Information table, there are things there that this is probably, as a little pocket guide, the most information that we have provided that basically tells you what we're doing, things about Dementia Friendly, and some of the plans that we have there is in that brochure there. And of course, there are wonderful refreshments that Sue got for us tonight. Thank you so much for that. So what's a dementia-friendly Lunenburg? What's a dementia-friendly town or city? It's a town or a city that embraces those with dementia and also their loved ones, their families. It's taking a little bit of time to understand what they might be going through, how to interact, and possibly how to help them with their activities, whether they be at our local Hannaford supermarket, or at a bank, or here at the library. So it's about awareness, and I'll talk a lot about that tonight, and some of the other speakers may even touch on that too, because it's everyone just needing to know that this is happening and to be comfortable with it. We have a saying, and you'll see these little things. This was kind of like a last-minute blip that I had today, and it's kindness takes time. And that came from I went to a conference in November of 2017. It was a breakout session. It was a Dementia Friendly Massachusetts conference, and someone had that phrase. They were from Boston, and they said, kindness takes time. we've got to just understand that this is going to take a little bit of time for everyone to embrace it, understand it, and help people. So I jotted it down and stuck in my notebook for over a year, and I brought it forward when we had our first action team meeting, and it's carried forward on some of our literature and things like that. So kindness does take time, and sometimes we don't have as much time when we pick up our phones and we're expecting things to happen right away. And so just something to keep in mind as we move forward with this. An old part of aging, we may have forgotten that this meeting was going to happen tonight. We might have forgotten what time it was, but we're able to connect the dots, retrace our steps to understand where that, oh yeah, that's right, I did have something in the library tonight, and it's the Dementia-Friendly Lunenburg Community Awareness Event. So that's what we do, and as we age, our brains get a little bit slower. You know, where it's like it might take a little bit more time for us to understand the questions that are asked of us or to get to our steps. Those with dementia, depending how progressive it is, may not be able to connect that. So they not only may have forgotten that there was an event tonight, but they may also forget what a library is for or where it was, and they grew up in town. So when those think about dementia and stuff like that, it's not a normal part of aging, and we're trying to find out so much more about it. Mira, are you ready for the 20-second? I have a little thing that I'm going to do. Some of the reports that have been done, it takes 20 seconds for someone that has dementia to understand the question. Some say 45 seconds, some say 90. We'll do the short version, and you'll see how long that takes. So I'm going to ask a simple question, and I'll ask no one to answer it. And I'd love the room to remain quiet for 20 seconds. So if you're ready. Ready? Go. What did you have for lunch? That was just 20 seconds. So the kindness takes time, but keep that in mind when we ask someone with dementia, so where do you think you parked your car? And were you with someone? And what did you do? It takes at least that much time for someone who has dementia and that has progressed to understand really what you're saying and how to process it, if they even can. So, let's talk about the progress that we've had in town, and it's been a lot of fun. We've got a lot done in a short amount of time. As I said, in September we started our first memory cafe, and it's getting folks comfortable with saying, yeah, I've got dementia, but I'll come to that cafe on a Friday and sit down and interact with those of my peers and their loved ones too. So that started in September. We've had wonderful attendance. We've had at least, the first one had 16 people, and we're up 20 to 22 people on the average per cafe that visit us the last Friday of every month. And that's from 10 to 12. We've got entertainment, we've got wonderful food, we've got music, and sometimes you learn something. And the Memory Cafe is a place where we don't talk about dementia, we don't talk about Alzheimer's disease, but what we do is offer a warm and comfortable setting for those that have dementia, and they enjoy it. They have a blast, and I have a blast. I facilitate it, and I'm just kind of just enjoying the smiles that we see every month. It's a good time. Another form of products that we have is that we have a questionnaire, and this questionnaire is going to be sent out to everyone who lives in Lunenburg who owns property in the tax bill. And basically the questionnaire is asking, is there anyone living in your home that has dementia? Please tell us about that. who's the first person we would call if that person got lost? Who's the second person? If that person does wander, well, where do they usually go? Are they going over to the park? Are they going to the library? Are they going to Hanover? Where are they going? So this is an important step to creating a database that first responders and police will have access to, and they'll be able to call it up on their systems right away. And we have, how many? One so far?
Yes, one.
That's one more than we have. We have two. And if anyone, please, it's on the information table. If you're not comfortable filling it out here tonight, then take it home. But please send it in, because this is how we'll build a friendlier community here, and something that's going to protect our loved ones with dementia. We also have transportation is usually a big issue for those with dementia. We understand that driving is not the best thing for those with dementia, so we have the MARC bus here through the senior center, and fees will be waived for those that have dementia to, get them to Walmart or get them to the library or get them to a doctor's appointment. And that's another step to how we're helping out. A big thing that came out initially when the action team met was, what do you need in the library? What do you need here, for the police, first responders, and everything? And everyone was like, we got to know more. Train us. So that was the big sound that we heard from the initial first couple of meetings that we had. So we asked for help from the Alzheimer's Association, and in April they trained 13 first responders that now know more how to interact for someone who might be in a fire or in an apartment building that where an alarm went off. And then also later in April, we trained service for the Unitil reps, the service and the field techs, and the customer service reps. That was over 50 people were trained in that training session given by Julie from the Alzheimer's Association. So that was a total bonus, which helps not only Lunenburg, but Fitchburg, Gardner, Westminster, Ashby, and Townsend. So those techs that are out on the lines, they're doing electric and gas, they now know how to better interrelate with someone who has dementia. So that's what I've got to talk about. I'll talk at the end, some closing remarks. But what I'd like to do is introduce Patty Sullivan. Thank you for coming tonight. And she, like I said before, is our guiding light. And she's answered a lot of questions that the rest of the action team haven't even seen the questions I've asked. And thank you so much for your help. And I'll ask the speakers that just introduce the speaker after you. I don't need to come up every time. All right. Thanks. Patty Sullivan.
First of all, I apologize for being late. I left my home in Brookline at 4:45 and arrived here now, so there was a little bit of a traffic challenge. But got a lot of work done in my car, which is what I tend to do. I'm a very bad distracted driver, I guess. But I couldn't miss this event tonight. It's been very exciting. I have been in this job, I think, for 7 months now. And I think on day 3 of my job, I ended up in this lovely community helping you begin to become dementia friendly. It was very exciting for me, in part because I had, you read about this, you study this stuff, you're all ready to go on a new job, and then you actually end up out in the field and you don't really know what you're walking into. Well, in this case, you fortunately walked into a very strong leadership team with a great director in Sue who knows everybody in town and can help understand how this is going to play out in a community like this one. Also wise enough to find someone to take the lead, which is often my job when I come into a community is the first thing I do is explain to the community that your senior center director cannot do this work. She's got too much stuff on her plate. And so it's much more important to find someone from the community. I will tell you that communities across the state would like to clone you, Keith. Someone with your kind of energy and determination and background and enthusiasm for this work really has brought it to light. So it's been a lot of fun for me to watch, to answer all those emails. Always interesting to see the questions that get asked, but it's also fun for me because this town is one of about, we say this roughly, about 160 communities who are thinking about dementia, who are maybe starting a memory cafe, as has been done here. Maybe they're on dementia friend training, learning how to work with people who have dementia. In small ways, sort of all moving in towards this goal of making the state much more dementia-friendly statewide through each of the towns. And that means something different in every town. And that's the other part of this that makes it fun. For some communities, they pulled together their action group. They decided that really the most important thing they could do for their community was simply is an understatement, start an adult day program to provide some respite for people who have loved ones who have dementia and need extra help. Other communities, every community sort of takes this in a different direction. This community is famous because nobody else has trained utility workers. And that's now become a buzz, and you will see that now across the state because people come up with these different ideas. I wander around and talk about them. And we see this initiative grow in very, very different ways. And I think the exciting part of this in your community is that there seems to be a lot of interest and enthusiasm. I suspect there's been some arm twisting along the way from this gentleman, in a good way. But the opportunities are here, and people across the community are stepping up to participate in them. And that really is terrific to watch, and you'll start to feel the difference. I was in a community on the Cape not too long ago, and one of the directors there asked me, how are we going to know when we're dementia friendly? What will it look like, and what will it feel like? And her outreach person said, you know what, we'll know we're dementia friendly when people stop going to Florida in the wintertime because they want to be in this community in October. And they had that happen with one family this year. But I thought, boy, that's a really interesting unit of measurement, that's their goal. But when you have a community so warm and welcoming, you want to stay there, even through the not-so-lovely Boston and Massachusetts winters. So that's the context. You're a part of this bigger piece. We're also affiliated with Dementia Friendly America. And we are, a former colleague of mine actually runs the program in Washington, D.C. And I often turn to her for questions. And her point is, Patty, Massachusetts is so far out there ahead of all the other states. I would ask you this question. So, because our state is just going strong in terms of the number of communities, the number of memory cafes, the number of dementia friends we've trained. We really have all this enthusiasm around this initiative, which is really exciting. And it also plays into another initiative that's going on in the state, and that is the Age-Friendly Initiative. That initiative we often try to blend with Dementia Friendly. Once a community gets going on Dementia Friendly, sometimes I'll say, well, how about we think about this Age-Friendly stuff? Because the two of them are very powerful. People ask all the time, why are they different? And it's sort of a logistical answer. One initiative came along from the World Health Organization, I guess about 18 years ago now. Dementia Friendly America is not that old. I think it's 7 or 8 years old now. And so watching those two move along on different paths, the critical difference, though, is that you can be an age-friendly community and not be a dementia-friendly community, and vice versa. Because you have to make a deliberate effort to reach out to meet the needs of people in the community who have dementia. And so they're complementary, they work well together, but they're different. And so tonight I'm really excited to congratulate you on the progress that you've made, and I'll look forward to coming back, and then probably with you it'll be 6 months to see what's happening. So thank you very much. And I am next up. I'm going to introduce Representative Stephen A. from the 3rd. Can you tell I don't have my glasses?
Third.
Hi, my name is Patty Sullivan. I work for the Massachusetts Councils on Aging, and my job there is to direct a program called Dementia Friendly Massachusetts. And it's that program that brings me here to Lunenburg tonight. Here we're gathered in the library to talk about an initiative that will make this community more dementia friendly. And what that means to be dementia friendly is for people across the community, whether it's at the library or in the grocery store or in the doctor's office, or even the gentleman who knocks on your door to check your gas meter, for that person to have a better understanding of what it might be like to live with some memory impairment or maybe even a diagnosis of dementia, and really to embrace the motto here in this community that kindness takes time. So I've come here today from Boston because I wouldn't want to miss this event. There's so much excitement about this activity, from the town administrator to a lot of the Main Street businesses. Everyone's here talking about this, and it makes it quite exciting. And in spite of the fact that I visit towns all across the state every day, this morning I started in Hamden, I'm very excited about what's happening here and look forward to coming back.
Thank you all. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I guess what I'd first like to say is I hope that the people who live in Lunenburg, appreciate and understand what's being done here. This is really important and very generous of the people who are taking their time to do this. I'm going to get personal. I'm going to tell you that I wish that 18 years ago that, say, Fitchburg had a program like this when my mother first suffered from dementia and Alzheimer's. The things you remember, I'd call her on Wednesday, reminded her Friday I was picking her up to come to my house for dinner, and that would be fine. And then all of a sudden I'd call her on Wednesday to remind her, and on Thursday I'd call her about something else, and I'd say, hey, remember, I'm going to pick you up tomorrow at 3, and she'd say, oh, what are we doing? And the first few times it happens for a while, you start to think, what the hell's the matter, Mom? Aren't you paying attention? And you don't want to be short, you don't want to be angry, you don't want to be anything, but you don't know what to be. And then you start to figure it out. Then you start to understand that, I talked to her on Wednesday, and on Thursday, that's gone. Totally gone. And we were on an island by ourselves for a long time dealing with my mother, and I can only tell you how spectacular it would have been to have a group of people, an agency, an organization to turn to for help and friendship and camaraderie when you deal with that. But you do have to remember his words, kindness takes time, and kindness is what it's all about. I will go to my grave never more appreciative of anybody in any act than what my wife did towards the end for my mom. We'd go to a restaurant, and my mother would open a menu, and she'd read the first page, and she'd read the second page. And she'd get the third page, and the first page was gone. And she'd go to the fourth page, and the second and third page were gone. And she'd get to the end, and there was just no idea. She didn't have a clue what she wanted to order, what she wanted to do. And my mother then started waiting for us to order around the table, and she'd say, oh, I'm not ready yet. And my wife would order, and my mother would order exactly what my wife ordered. And my wife figured this out, and so what my wife ordered every time? Not what she wanted to have for dinner that night. She ordered what she knew my mother liked to have for dinner. Think about that. That's kindness. That's kindness. And there's a million moment-to-moment things that occur in your relationships with that person who has dementia or has Alzheimer's. And all I can tell you is patience and kindness are the two greatest qualities that you can have towards them. The reality is that the last 6 months of my mother's life, that wasn't my mother. deal with that. She didn't have to deal with that, because guess what? She didn't have a clue. But it's hard, and it's hard, and it's emotional, and it is something that we as a community need to address. We as a community need to look at and say, how can we help the people who are suffering, but also how can we help the people who are living day to day with them and trying to support them and do all of those things, because it's there. And when Keith talks about, them not driving their cars and making the Marcos available so people can get to appointments and doing that type of thing, those little things have such an impact on the caregivers who are trying to take care of their parents or their brothers or their sister or their friend or whoever it might be, that, as I said at the beginning, I only can hope that the people in the town of Lunenburg appreciate what they got going on here, because I certainly do. By any way that, as a state representative, I can be helpful to you or anybody else who's participating in this program, please reach out to me. This is good stuff. People ask me why I'm a state legislator sometimes, and I tell them it's real simple. It really is for me. I want to do good, and I want to help people. And this is a program that does good and helps people. So if I can lend myself to it in any manner, shape, or form, I would be glad to do that. I do have to tell you that in finishing up, I have a 7 o'clock event I need to get to. That's how my life goes. So when I leave, don't think, oh, you just here. No, I'm actually going to something else. But I would like to, following instructions, because I can remember that. Now for 20 seconds, I'd like to introduce Liam. How's the pronunciation? Pam McLeod, who's the Senior Program Development Associate, Executive Office of Elder Affairs. Pam, it's all yours.
Hi everyone, thanks for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here to see so many people interested in talking about this topic that is often a secret in families still in this day and age. We need to talk about it more. That's the only way we're going to get rid of the stigma. And we're going to be able to provide the support and services that folks need, both family members and people living with dementia. So I'm from the Executive Office of Elder Affairs in the state. So, age is the biggest risk factor for dementia. It's not normal aging. There are so many more older adults without dementia than those with. However, it is the biggest risk factor. 1 out of every 8 people age 65 and over in our state have dementia, and 1 out of every 3 in the country are 85 and over. So it's something we cannot ignore. We all want a cure. There isn't one, but there's a lot of great research going on, even the fields of clinical trials. They learn things, so we're hopeful, but we're not going to wait for a cure, because we have people who can be vital, important parts of our community. There's no reason for them to be isolated. But today we see so many people living with dementia, along with their family members, who feel very isolated from their community. And that's only because there's so little understanding and awareness. People are well-meaning, but they don't understand. So, as Keith said, people ask for training. They ask to understand more. So that's how we got started here in the state, and how all the towns get started. So it's great that you're a part of that. Last summer, before we had an opening, a job opening, and Patty ended up filling it. But while it was open for about 2 months. I was placed in that position that Patty now has. Now, I already had a full-time job and then some, so I did very little, I have to admit. But I could probably count on one hand how many things I did, but one of the things I did is I came to Lunenburg. It was less than a year ago. I went to town hall. I see some people here that I recognize, and a lot of the town department managers were there. The town manager was there, and they asked me very basic questions like, what is dementia? What is the dementia-friendly community movement? What's the process? What are the benefits, and so on. And then fast forward, a couple of months ago, I saw this brochure and it said Lunenburg, and I was in another, I don't know where it was, but I was in some other place, and I saw this Lunenburg. And I was just so excited that you actually started doing something. And I know I shouldn't be, because this should be something everybody does, but it really takes courage. It really does, because there's so many people who are unaware and believe that this topic is taboo and are even afraid to talk about it. When I was driving back, first of all, I should describe this meeting. Lots of folks at the meeting talked about their personal experiences, the way the representative just did. Their personal experiences, whether it be with an aunt or uncle, or a friend or neighbor, or even a police officer talked about a person in the community. And I could see that everyone was there not because it was their job to be there. They were there because they really cared. And I knew for certain they really cared about the residents of this community. And as I was driving home, I was thinking, this is going to be a great place to live for that very reason. And I really feel that if you have leaders who are caring, then kindness comes. And that's, again, what so many people have said, when you talk about dementia-friendly, it all boils down to kindness. Yes, it's not easy. There's a long process. There's a lot you have to do. There's a lot you have to understand. A lot of people have to be trained. But in the end, it's just about kindness and patience. And when I saw this kindness takes time, I thought, this is great. I like the word kindness. It's on a brochure about dementia-friendly. I don't think I've seen that before, Ben.
No, I was the only one.
I have a better one. I think that your mother should be, in Lunenburg, kindness comes easy. And so if it's going to work anywhere, I really believe it's going to work in Lunenburg. And I can't wait to see all the successes. I have a passion for this. I was not working in the elder services field while I was a care partner for both of my parents who lived for many years with Alzheimer's disease. I walked through our community, which was a big city, unlike this one, but still, people just didn't understand. It was so difficult. I remember telling a dentist, please, whatever you ask my mother, just make it yes or no questions. Does it hurt? Where does it hurt? Things like that. And the first thing the dentist asked was, so how long have you been living in Cambridge? My mother didn't know she lived in Cambridge, and this was not a question to ask. Even though I prepared the dentist, she wasn't ready. So there's so much education, even in the medical field, even in healthcare, even among geriatricians. Even they ask the wrong questions. So there's a lot of work to do, but it's so exciting to see so much of it going on in our state. And Patty's right, we are a leader in the state. We're even represented. I was in I don't know if you were on it, a live stream conference in Japan on Sunday morning at 2 a.m. To talk about what Massachusetts is doing in the dementia-friendly movement, because we're seen as a leader in our country. So we're very proud of that, and I bet lots of folks in our state have learned from Lunenburg. I can tell. There's lots of great things are going to come out of this place. So for that reason, this town holds a really special place in my heart. And you have a cheerleader up in the State House. If there's anything that you feel you need that the state can do to make what you do easier, I'll do whatever I can to get it for you, and I really do mean that. So thank you again for having me.
Hi, I'm Pam McLeod. I'm from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Elder Affairs, and I'm here today for the kickoff of the Lunenburg Dementia Friendly Initiative, and it was a great time. Lots of folks showed up. I'm very encouraged by the interest on the part of the business community as well as the residents in the community to make this town as dementia friendly as possible, and I really believe that the folks in this town are ready for it. They've already done a lot in a very short time. I met a number of the town officials less than a year ago, and they've come a long way since then. We started off just talking about the basics of what a dementia-friendly community is, and they really took that to heart and did as much as they could to get ready and put together a great team. So I'm very excited about having been here today, being a part of it, and hearing what folks had to say. I can see that this is a very caring community, and this is a place where kindness really comes easy, and that's what dementia-friendly communities are all about. And we have a great senior center here. Heard lots of great things about the senior center and the senior center director, that was so good to hear.
Now I'd like to introduce Christy Milet, the district director, and she is representing Senator Dean Tran.
Hi everybody, good evening. I just want to congratulate the town of Lunenburg, Heather, Sue, Keith for all his help, everybody in town, the first responders, the fire, police station, everyone that took the training for such a wonderful thing. This dementia friendly is great and it's a long time coming, and I, like Representative Hay, we certainly need to talk to the city of Fitchburg where we both live as well, and we have 11 towns with the senator's office. I do go to all the senior centers, and this is truly an amazing thing that you've done, so pat yourself on the back because you really deserve it. So I know I spoke to you way back in October about this coming, and it has been worth all the hard work, I'm sure. You can attest to that. So congratulations, and I'll be by to visit some memory care. I also, my family have experienced dementia. My father was one of these people that was getting the calls that his mother was way down in West Fitchburg, and those of you who know Fitchburg, she lives by Slattery's, and she was way down in West Fitchburg, and he always got the calls at work. Your mother's down here, and thank God they were a generational family, that everybody knew him and knew my grandmother, so he got the calls, but folks without this awareness aren't aware. They wouldn't always get the calls. So this is great. I hope that everybody fills out that application that he was talking about, because these are important things. I've also been 30 years in this year doing elder care. Many of the clients that have, whether it's home care or nursing home, have had dementia. And we get the phone call from the bank, this person's at the wrong bank, and just, so there are people in the community that do see this, people at restaurants who have this elderly couple that comes in day in after day out and shouldn't be driving. It's good for them to know who they can call. Most of them do call the senior center or the local mayor's office, but this is all part of educating and awareness that everybody in the community should be aware that if you see somebody just walking or the same person coming to the same area, as he said, when someone leaves, where are they going to? I had a client that would walk up to the corner store every day. This is what some of these folks do. I mean, they get to the point, some of them, they don't just wander. They're in danger. We've had people wander at 2 a.m. Just come to families and say, we'll lock them in. Well, we can't lock people in. There's other resources, other help out there, but there's lots of resources. There's home care, there's Massachusetts home care for a starting point. Sue does referrals to everybody and anybody. Your local senior center is the best one-stop shop resource place because it's a resource there. I see my friend over here, Marie. Hi, Marie. Her lovely husband, Vic.
She took very
I
good
took
care
care of it, and we had funny times with him too. So dementia is something that's going to affect almost everybody, whether it's a relative or a friend or a neighbor. There needs to be more awareness. Some of these folks actually get to the point where they forget what food is, how to eat, what to eat. I've had people that are eating cat food, and this is what happens. So the more awareness that's out there, and we just had a big thing about malnutrition with elders, and that's another part of it, is that when they forget about food and how to eat and how to prep things and how to bathe and how to dress, those are things that, again, there's resources out there. So it's not just seeing somebody that's lost, it's also maybe seeing somebody who has been wearing the same clothes for a few days, or seeing somebody who isn't the way they used to be, maybe not combing their hair. Like, there's all these little things, and I'm sure Sue can attest to this, all these things that you see in a decline in an elder's life and quality of life that is dementia awareness. And it's all these things that we in the healthcare field, we pick up on, but most people in the community, if they haven't been in healthcare, wouldn't pick up on it. But there's many things that you can be aware of to keep the seniors in our community safe. So congratulations again to Lunenburg, and I'm going to leave this up to actually Heather. Come on, Heather.
Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy to see so many people here tonight. It's a real indicator of how much everyone cares about becoming a dementia-friendly community. And I want to just say I'm so impressed by the Action Committee and how much progress that has been made in such a short time. So for me, the idea of Lunenburg becoming a dementia-friendly community began when previous selectman Bob Ebersol said to Council on Aging Director Sue Doherty and I in January of 2018, a newspaper article on different towns becoming dementia-friendly. And anyone that knows Bob, he's great at, he'll plant the seed of an idea. And I'm not going to tell you to do this, but it's the idea. And from there, Sue took off with it. Sue was always willing to take on new programs and ways to benefit our seniors, took the initiative in reaching out to the state to see what was entailed, inviting people to our meetings, and reaching out to the various groups to form the Action Committee group. And the Action Committee group is made up of representatives from the town, the school, the business community, the faith groups, the police department, fire department, the library, Council on Aging, and a person living with dementia, and healthcare industry. And from there, it all took off. We've had terrific attendance at our monthly meetings, and Chairman Keith Lancelotti is such a positive, encouraging leader of the group. He's really pushed us and been that real leader of the group to move it forward and give everyone tasks. It's just been great. Keeps everything moving forward, and we've accomplished so much with him as our leader. So one of the largest components of becoming dementia-friendly is training, and we've already made great strides in that area. The police and fire departments have recently undergone training, and we coordinated training, like you said, with Unitil staff. And there's more training to be done in the future that we'll be doing with town staff to recognize awareness and that kindness factor when you're interacting with people that may have dementia. And Keith has started the motto, kindness takes time, and that has stuck with me. Lunenburg becoming dementia-friendly is about being aware of the signs of dementia and being patient and kind. Knowing what I know about Lunenburg, this is part of the reason why this has been embraced so readily in Lunenburg. Because people of Lunenburg are kind. So with that, I'll hand the podium back to Keith. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Keith Lancelotti. I am the chairperson for Dementia Friendly Lunenburg, the action team. We have a group of people from town that, whether it be fire, our community parishes and things like that. We've got people from the senior center. So what we're doing in Lunenburg is we're creating a more dementia-friendly town. And what that means is people are going to understand how to interrelate with someone with dementia, how to know that someone may have dementia when they come into their store. So we'll do that through training. We'll do that through a lot of public awareness events like we just did tonight. We'll be at the car show with a table with information. We'll be at the art show. So we're doing a lot of different things around town so people just understand, become more familiar with people with dementia. Moving forward, we'll be training banks, in offices and the town library and things like that. So keep your eyes open. We are becoming more dementia friendly, and thanks a lot.
Did you have a good time?
I had a great time. It was a great event that we had tonight. Wonderful turnout. We had people from the state that came from Boston that just said, "Hey, we're doing the right thing in town, and keep it up." Thank you, Heather, and everyone else for speaking. And so, closing, as Heather had said, we have some trainings planned early in June. We'll be training the town hall staff along with the library, and I'll be doing that. I'm going to be getting some training from the Alzheimer's Association and the training that they provided to the Unitil employees, dementia in your community, and from a business perspective. customer service is really what was provided. And it was, of all the trainings that I've seen over the past year, that's the one that seems to have the most energy and really hits home to what a lot of us do here in town and all the surrounding towns. So that's coming up early in June. And the last thing is people are saying, like, how can I help and what can I do? And first of all, if anyone's a business owner or know them, if someone comes to you with a brochure like this, we're not selling anything. We're just want you to know that this is what we're here to do, and we can possibly help your business and your staff train. We have a goal I have a goal to train Hannaford. It's 135 employees. Now, is that going to take some time? Absolutely. But we'll get it done. And that's the whole goal of our community, is to just get it done. And so always ask questions. There will be people here afterwards that will answer some questions. If you want to help, just offer, and we would love that. And if someone from the Dementia Friendly team doesn't reach out, if you are a business owner, then reach out to us. Reach out to the Senior Center, and they'll channel the call to the right person. There are organizations here in town that we may not touch, because we may think they're too small, but nothing's too small to interact with the public. So we can use the help also. If you have an idea of something in town that may help create a more dementia-friendly community, then let us know. We need to know that. We have some good ideas. We know there's some things that need to be done, but if you have an idea, bring it forward, because that's why we're here, is to just create a community that is just building up dementia-friendly in Lunenburg. So, are there any questions? Anyone?
So if a business has completed a course, whatever, so that they're now dementia friendly certified, whatever you want to call it, is there like a symbol or something that they're putting on their door to say we're dementia friendly, or is it just the fact that they know what to do, and so therefore they're just following through?
That is a great question, and that was just something that came up early in our meetings. You get something on that one?
Well, first of all, the Alzheimer's Association will give you a decal that says that. This has come up in different communities because it's beginning to get a little decal crazy. If you could get an Alzheimer's Association decal, in my community you can get a Brookline age-friendly business and a dementia-friendly business. Your door gets a little cluttered and you're not quite sure what it all means. And so, I'm a fan of advertising. It's a form of advertising for you. And so the Alzheimer's Association will hand them out if it's their training. Other towns have made their own.
Right.
I just chuckle a little bit.
Well, no, the only reason I've asked them is that we have physicians in town that work with student health care. And so they were a little concerned about, do they have to put something on the door? Not that they don't want to indicate, but I think there's always an assumption, to use that term, there's an assumption that they're going into a medical office and everybody there knows how to deal appropriately. But as Joe was talking about dealing with your dentist, and honestly, I think the physicians in our hospital most probably aware are actually our emergency department physicians, because we get patients coming in from assisted living facilities who have dementia. So they've actually gotten a little bit better understanding, because you don't just ask a question like, so when did you cut your leg? You're not going to get an answer. So, they have determined how to handle that appropriately. But as I said, when I was talking to their manager, her big concern was, well, is that going to look odd? Their concern was, I put this up and people think we only see dementia, as opposed to, we reverse.
So Virginia, as you can see there, we're all trying to figure this out. The cool thing that happened through our committee is that we do have someone living with dementia on our action team. And this person said, well, you know what? If we have a Lunenburg, becoming dementia-friendly, or we are dementia-friendly in Lunenburg, if I go to Fitchburg with my husband, what are they going to have? So now I'm kind of like circling back to the Alzheimer's Association logo, and I haven't approached them, but I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it and where that goes, and where the training, where Nicole will do some training also, and that is provided through the Alzheimer's Association. Will that business or that have that label? So we're working on that part.
You know, the other thing that our communities have done, and I want to say Franklin, looking at these Pandas, a lot of this terrain, have a pamphlet that lists which organizations in town, restaurants, doctors, anybody who's been trained, and they put it all in a brochure and then they hand it out to older adults so that people, when they're shopping or when they're doing whatever, they can look to that guide to find out who's going to be kinder, who's going to take more time.
Okay.
Or who's going to understand. So and then it becomes a marketing tool because then people try to get their names in.
Sure. Anything else? Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I appreciate it. And you'll see more coming from the Dementia Friendly Action Team. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.